Good afternoon. I'm KHOU 11 Meteorologist Chris Ramirez. We are still under that weather impact alert for the early part of the afternoon as we're still tracking some widespread rain. Timing is through the rest of today is that we could see heavy rain to cause some flooding concerns for some locations. We're still looking at some rainfall out in the Texas Medical Center. But the good news, though, is that we are starting to see that rain diminish here across our area as we get closer towards the 1 p.m. hour. The National Weather Service is keeping a flood watch in effect for most of southeast Texas until 7 p.m. this afternoon. There is some flood warnings that are currently in effect as well, but the Storm Prediction Center is still including much of southeast Texas under a moderate risk for flooding. That is a 3 out of 4. That's pretty significant. And we're starting to see that, especially as we saw some of the higher rainfall accumulations for areas east of the Houston area. East Houston, from East Houston all the way towards I-10, even towards the Beaumont area, has received quite a bit of rain. So looking at areas to the west of town, we got up to just in excess of an inch of rain out in Bunker Hill Village, Peeblebrook Drive at 1.11 inches of rain. Lake Houston saw quite a bit of rain, 2.89 inches of rain at Medina Way. Foley Road, just to the east of Lake Houston, now getting up to 4 inches of rain. These are individual weather stations at select streets so that we can give you a better focus on the weather at the neighborhood level, street level. So looking out at the coastal areas, especially around the Clear Lake area, Lakeshore Drive, 3.29 inches of rain, 3 inches at Towns Road. And so that really is showing how most of the heavier rain has fallen to the east of the I-45 corridor. Rainfall right now, it's looking likely that we're seeing that rain come to becoming more lighter in nature. You saw the oranges and the reds, which is really showing the heavier rainfall. Now, as we get closer towards 12:30, closer to the 1 p.m. hour, we're starting to see the more green. More green is actually good news in terms of the radar. It's showing less heavy rain. We're actually getting a little bit of a break right there just south of Sugarland. So rain looking likely that it's going to start lightening up. Still seeing some heavy downpours out in El Campo. We're also tracking the possibility of some potential flooding in portions of east downtown to areas east of the Houston area. So that's going to be in place from 12:45 p.m. tonight. That does include the city of Houston, League City, Pasadena, and Pearland, as they could maybe see another a half an inch of rain, maybe an excess of an inch of rain going into this afternoon. There's also that flood warning that's in place, which is mean that flooding is ongoing in some of these locations, especially in Baytown, Shore Acres, Mont Belvieu, Magnolia Gardens. So the streams, the bayous, the low-lying areas on those roadways have definitely seen some water on some locations. We even saw some flooding ongoing along I-45 south of Dickinson. However, let's kind of focus on Matagorda County and around the city of Palacios. They've issued a quite significant flood warning for that. I think they maybe expired it, but that was a considerable flood warning, which is life-threatening flooding ongoing in and around the Palacios area. But when we look at the rainfall accumulations for the past 12 hours, this area has received close to 10, maybe 12 inches of rainfall in some locations, especially out in coastal Matagorda County and around the Palacios area. And like I mentioned earlier, this is the 24-hour rain totals for areas closer to Houston, where you see those orange colors along Highway 90 towards Liberty, I-10, Baytown. That they've received close to 5.5 inches of rainfall in those locations, and this is where we're seeing that flooding concern east of Houston. The good news is that we probably are going to see that flooding threat stop where it's at now. We're not really expecting it to increase. They did see close to 6 to 8 inches of estimated rainfall out in along I-69 southeast of town, but it's just really the good news is that we're seeing that rain sort of diminish. And as we look at future track, showers are going to be likely at least from 12:30 to 1 p.m., even closer to 2 p.m. Might even see a few more downpours, but it's going to become less as we go through the rest of this afternoon. We're not really going to see that relief until closer to 4 to 5 p.m. But even though the rain is going to be not really lasting all that much longer, we could still see it quite a bit of time pass before all of those low-lying areas and those flooded roadways to drain off as we go into this afternoon. So we still have another unsettled weather pattern to look out for, especially as we head into Friday and Saturday. So as we look at the forecast rain totals, we could receive receive close to 2 to 3 inches of additional rainfall in some locations, especially south of Houston, as we head into Friday afternoon. We're seeing the effects of that low pressure system that's currently in and around the Arkansas area push off towards the east. Heading into this weekend, we will be tracking, there's going to be a high pressure system over West Texas, New Mexico, but we're going to be on the outer edge of that. So we're going to see this thing called ridge running storms, which are storms that usually live to travel along on the outer edges of high pressure systems. So we're going to still be under that umbrella, no pun intended, for rain chances as we head into at least Father's Day weekend through Tuesday and into Wednesday. We're not expecting widespread flooding rain like we're seeing today on Father's Day, but the rain chance is still there as we could see some scattered rain activity, and even the Climate Prediction Center calling for above normal rain potential through June 18th to June 22nd. So it's looking likely that it's going to be shaping up to be a fairly wet June for us here across Southeast Texas. As far as your 7-day forecast, weather impact alert for today, that's going to last through this afternoon as we're still seeing some areas that it's going to take quite a while for that flooding to subside, but scattered storms likely lasting through Friday. Even this weekend, we're giving a 50% chance of storm activity through Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, like I said, still hit or miss rain chances going into the next few hours or next few days rather, as we head into this afternoon. So as we kind of recap here, this is our live stream where we kind of go into deep extended coverage of what we're seeing across the area as of now. We're seeing as we get closer to 1 p.m. this afternoon, we're seeing that rain sort of taper off and becoming less widespread. You're actually able to see the skies brighten up a bit. I don't know if you noticed that there looking over the Texas Medical Center. That's just showing that the rain is sort of starting to become a bit more lighter in nature and less intense like we saw earlier today, which is good news for the city of Houston. So we're not going to see that flooding threat grow closer towards downtown and areas west of town. It's looking more likely that the higher rain chances likely to remain in place for areas east of the Houston area. So looking at the neighborhood weather network, we're expecting 1 to 2 inches of rain. Radar still fairly active, especially along I-45, even in the Galveston area. I'm going to go ahead and step off screen here so we can zoom into some locations across the Houston area. So right now, heavy rain still falling out in Galveston. This is what's happening right now. If you are in League City along I-45, we're still seeing some heavy rainfall in this location. So remember I said earlier that we could see our coastal area still be under the gun for this heavy rainfall, and that's what we're seeing right now, is that most of the heavy rain now hugging the coast along I-45 League City. They were already enduring some flooding that was happening in and around the city of Dickinson. Keep that in mind that unfortunately we're not expecting that to lighten up, at least for the next maybe hour or so. But the good news is that for Houston proper, we're seeing that rain become less heavy. You see the orange colors. When we have those orange colors, that was showing some heavy rain that was occurring at 10:30 this morning, 10:54. This is 11 a.m. And then now as we get closer towards right now and closer towards 1, you're seeing more green. Green is good news as we head into the afternoon hours. And so we still could see some areas that could receive some ponding on roadways. I think we're seeing some moderate to heavy rainfall in and around the Bush Airport area. But just keep in mind, and they're just inside of that flood advisory that's in effect until 12:45. It's looking likely that some light rain still falling. But as we look at radar and loop this for the past 2 hours, we are expecting some of this rain potential, this clearing that you see that's happening out in just south of Sugar Land. That is really the case. We're going to start seeing things clear out, especially as we progress through the next 30 minutes to an hour. But as we go into the next few hours, we still are going to be tracking that flooding potential for areas along the coast, which includes Alvin, League City, Galveston. Not really expecting to see any flooding concerns or reports of flooding out in Galveston right now, but we are expecting to see those conditions remain mostly just treacherous along I-45 south of Houston as we progress through the afternoon hours. I'm going to try to set up a Galveston live cam here so we can see what it looks like out in Galveston as they're still enduring that heavy rainfall. So this is looking at the Texas Medical Center. Let's take a look out at Galveston right now. Galveston looking like it's about to pop up right now. We're seeing those conditions, still rainy conditions out in the coastal areas. But as we go through this evening, we're just going to continue to see that rain become less widespread across the area. This is Galveston. We're still seeing mostly heavy rain ongoing out in the Galveston area. You see the cameras, that's just wet. You're still able to see Pleasure Pier, but heavy rain still falling out in Galveston. I don't know if you can see the rain between this Beach Central the building there. Heavy rain still falling along the coast. You see bikers or those people just running across the roadway there trying to avoid the rain. Make sure to bring an umbrella if you're out in this rain, and be extra cautious out there as we go into the afternoon hours, as we are expecting to see this rain potential to, the good news, lighten up from this point forward, especially for Houston proper. You're seeing it become less widespread, but we still have to worry about these flooding concerns that are in place for areas east of downtown Houston, east of the I-45 corridor, even along I-45 south of town. Flood warning in effect until 1 p.m. That's in about 20 minutes, but we're also looking at some more, some potential of life-threatening flooding out in Matagorda County. If you are in that area, be extra cautious, as we are expecting to see this rain lighten up, but we could still see some downpours take place through the rest of our afternoon. But the good news is that we are going to still be under that weather impact alert, and we're still going to be here warning you of any concerns and problematic roadways, especially as this is expected to become more isolated in nature, getting closer towards 2:30 and 3 p.m. And like I said, more rain chances Friday, not as widespread as today, but we could see an additional 2 to 3 inches of rain accumulations as this unsettled weather pattern is just shaping up to continue to give us a rather messy weekend in terms of Father's Day. I know Father's Day we have a lot of activities to enjoy. We're not expecting rain chances for areas in central Texas, but we are going to still be under the gun for these ridge running storms that are on the outskirts of that high pressure system, at least through the next few days, as rain chances are expected to linger at least for the next 7 days. Highs in the 80s and 90s, lows in the 70s. Weather impact alert for today. We will see scattered storms for tomorrow. Once again, our grounds are already saturated, so it's not going to take much to cause some flooding concerns. But just keep in mind that as we head into the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, likely to see scattered storms. Unfortunately for Father's Day, it's looking like it's going to be more hit or miss, not widespread like we're seeing today, but few storms possible heading into the start of next week. But heading for the next 7 days, we're keeping you up to date on the latest weather conditions and roadways as we progress through the rest of this afternoon. You can always get that on KHOU.com, and we'll continue to update you on the KHOU 11 Plus. You can get easy access to that by downloading the KHOU 11 app. Again, I'm meteorologist Chris Ramirez with your extended forecast.